That one's probably going to stick for a while, isn't it? The great Joelini. What if I told you that magic is real? That you practiced it here every day. And that more than once in your life, your effort was nothing short of a miracle. Be honest. Would you believe me? Well, today I am going to try and prove it to you. I came to UMBC back in 2003, and having the opportunity to work at such a young, up-and-coming university has taught me a lot about the importance of a vivid imagination, of maintaining an open-minded perspective, and of the power of taking time to share our stories with one another. One of the reasons I've stayed here for as long as I have is that this community has provided me with opportunities to not only pursue and explore my professional interests, but has provided me with a space, a home, where I felt like my inner dork could add a lot of value. And don't discount the importance of that. A community that practices this level of inclusivity is a community that can innovate in ways that are only limited by the expanse of its collective, quirky imagination. Imagination. I always think about it like energy, because it has a potential and a kinetic state. For instance, imagination without a direction, usually nothing more than a daydream. But imagination, if applied toward an idea or a concept, well, that could create almost anything. And that, my friends, is as close to real magic as we can get. Let's take card magic as an example. I have been a magician for over 30 years. Let it sink in. I know. I've come to one conclusion in that amount of time, and that is that all card tricks are the same. Yeah, me too. Tell me if this sounds familiar. Pick a card, any card. You pick a card, I shuffle it back into the deck, and then through some manner or method of presentation, I reproduce your card. Entertaining, perhaps, but not necessarily astonishing, and certainly not impossible. The most powerful question I can think to ask always starts with the words, what if? What if we decided to take that plot and think differently about it? Could we create a card trick that was both entertaining and impossible? Well, the author Stephen Covey would tell us to embark on such a journey, it's often helpful to think with the end in mind. But if we're going to create something that's never actually been done before, shouldn't we give ourselves permission to think outside the box? It's okay to laugh, folks. Don't hold it in. It hurts after a while. If this is to be a true test of our imagination, we wouldn't use a real deck of cards. We'd probably use something that looks a little more like this. This is an imaginary deck of cards. It's an invisible deck. Can I get someone in the front row to stand up? Would you mind, sir? Don't tell me your name. It's Eric. Am I right? We've met before. Eric, take that deck. If I asked you to give it a proper shuffle, what would you do? Well, I'm sorry. You have to take them out of the card box first. Magic's in the details. Why don't you hand the card box to a neighbor? I set it down once before. It was very difficult to find. Eric, please shuffle those cards and mix them up really well and keep shuffling. While Eric's shuffling the cards, we are going to select a card. But I'm going to do this in the fairest way I can think of, and that's going to involve several of you. I'm going to pick several of you using this brick. It's a rubber brick, folks. So if it comes near you, catch it. There's nothing glamorous about dodging a rubber brick. Now, people are spread out, so I'm going to do this the best that I can. Catch. Valiant effort. It is rubber. It bounces a little bit. What is your name? Shay? Shay, there are 26 red cards and 26 black cards in a deck. Which color would you like to work with, red or black? Red? Perfect, good. Now, pick a spot. I'm going to ask you to throw that brick one more time. We're looking for someone new. Throw it across the audience to someone new. We're working with a red card. Anywhere you want. And that's why we don't have a football team, folks. Who's got it? What's your name? I'm sorry? Kate. We're working with the red cards, so you get to choose the suit, hearts or diamonds. Diamonds. One more time, toss that brick across the audience. We're looking for someone new. Ooh. And Jesus has ended up with it in the vacant seat to the... I can't see. Who's got it? You know what? If you can't reach it, that's cool. I'm just going to pick on you. What's your name?
Lisa.
Lisa. You get the most difficult choice of all. Have you seen this talk before? So 5 of diamonds. Is that right? 5. Can we all agree that there's no way any one of us could have known that the 5 of diamonds would be the card that was selected today? Fair? Perfect, good. I'll get the brick later. Eric, you're doing a good job, but you dropped a few, it looks like. That's okay. The deck's good and shuffled. Eric, here's what I'd like for you to do. Hold the deck face up and start to spread through the cards between your hands until you see the 5 of diamonds, and then stop. Are you petting your hand? What are you doing? Stop, found it? Reach inside, pull out the 5 of diamonds, hold it high above your head so that the rest of the audience can see it. Now remember, folks, we're thinking with the end in mind. It's important that you try to see the card. Eric, here's the most important step. Take that 5 of diamonds, turn it face down, and reinsert it back into the face-up deck. So in a sense, we've reversed one card in our deck. Shuffle it one more time, and while you shuffle it, this audience is going to give you a big round of applause. Eric, you can toss the deck back to me. Yes, please. It's going to make a mess otherwise. Perfect, good. Eric, nice toss. It's difficult not to be embarrassed or feel foolish when all that we're doing is playing with our imagination. But the imagination is the bridge between fiction and reality. Fiction. Reality. With a powerful enough imagination, it is possible to make fiction become reality. This deck of cards has been on the table the entire time. I haven't touched it. What if? What was our card again? I'm going to try to do this for you as slowly and as deliberately as I can. People in the front row, you're going to have to keep me honest for those who can't see in the back row, but there's one card reversed in the whole deck, which is pretty entertaining when you consider our discussion thus far. Imagination fuels innovation. And with a power like that, you're going to find nothing's impossible. That's the 5 of diamonds. Give yourselves a big round of applause. And I say change. If you can see it here, then you can hold it here. But what happens if we see things differently? If we don't agree? If me being right means that you have to be wrong? Where does that leave us? I've always found it fascinating that 2 people can look at the same situation yet have a completely different experience of it. Who can tell me what this is a picture of? A beautiful lady. What? Does anyone see something else? A man or someone playing a saxophone. Can you see both at the same time? I wouldn't be a very good magician without a rabbit. Does anyone see something else? A duck or a goose, that's right. It's amazing in life how what's immediately before us often can seem disjointed or muddled up. Yet if we can find a way to shift our perspective even slightly, it's amazing how quickly the world can start to come into focus and things can start to make more sense. We live in a world of conflicting perspectives. And often in life, what's immediately before us, we wish we could boil it down into a binary decision tree. Right, wrong. Yes, no. That's rarely the reality that we exist within. I have long been a collector of quotes, and for many years this has been my favorite. It comes from the late Dr. Wayne Dyer, who said, "If you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change." It's a very powerful and very simple statement on this idea of perspective, and one that I'm going to try to illustrate for you right now using something we're all quite familiar with, money. But even money carries a different meaning, doesn't it, depending on the context. For instance, one person might look at this and think to themselves, what good is $1? I can't even buy a cup of coffee with that. While another person sees this dollar and thinks to themselves, I could put myself through college with enough of those, start a business. Two very different perspectives. Can both truths be true simultaneously? Well, before we get too far into this, I'm going to invite someone else to please take a look at that. Would you just step forward, take a look, and make sure that is just an ordinary $1 bill? Looks good to you, just like we rehearsed. Perfect. That is a $1 bill. That's heads, and that's tails. It's easy to feel confident when we see the whole picture, isn't it? But what happens if we only see half of the truth? Or perhaps even just a quarter of the story? What happens then? We begin to invite our assumptions, don't we? And then it becomes difficult to discern the difference between what actually exists and what we think we see, or even what we want to see. Because if we assume the worst, we might be left with less than we had in the beginning. Yet if we can imagine the possibilities, we might be able to create so much. What? So much more. Take another look. Tell everyone in a loud voice, how much is that worth? That's $100. How can you be sure? Does it look like 100? Does it look like 100? Does it feel like 100? Does it smell like one? I just want to see if she'd smell it. You can hand that back. Thank you. That's why I stay here as long as I have. Is it fact or is it fiction? Is this really $100? Or is it more likely that by shifting our perspective slightly, we became capable of seeing reality and potential simultaneously? If you change the way you look at things, the things you look at start to change. It's all about perspective, isn't it? And perspective is not without choice. Is the glass half full or half empty? Is it good luck or bad luck? Can misfortune be disguised as an opportunity? I suppose in the end, it's all a matter of how we choose to look at it, and that's one very valuable perspective to have. My friends, our time together this afternoon has nearly come to an end. However, I'd be remiss if I didn't take a moment to say to all of you, thank you. My journey to this stage began 30 years ago. And it's always in moments like these where I wish I could find the words to express what it means to me that you're here today, voluntarily suspending your disbelief, engaging with your imagination, and I hope experiencing a little bit of magic along the way. What's more, I hope our curiosity doesn't end after today, that we'll all continue to let our light shine so that others feel permission to do the same. The imagination is a powerful tool, and perhaps no one has understood it as much as this man, Steve Jobs. So today I thought I'd let him express to you, in his own words, what imagination has meant. It's true. Real magic doesn't come from a deck of cards, a handful of bills, or pulling a rabbit out of a hat. Real magic exists inside of you and me, from the perspectives that we bring to the world around us, and from the opportunities we create to share our stories with each other. And let's not forget, everyone has a story. We share them and trade them like things to collect. We laugh and we cry, not knowing what to expect. They grow, they change, they evolve over time. And sometimes we sing them, or or dress them in a rhyme. Our stories can be shallow, they can be deep, ever revealing, while others leave scars in desperate need of some healing. There is an abundance of tales that criticize, divide, prey on our fear. But there's a subtler truth that I have for us here. While our stories may make us feel special and set us apart, they're all lived, they're all formed, they're all told from the heart. And if that is a place where we can all come to agree, well, then it's not your story or my story, less I and more we. You see, it's the drama, the comedy, the ballads we tell that make us unique and can bring us together as well. The truth of the matter, my friends, is this: life is a gift, more fortunate than tragic. And if we embrace our stories together, we'll find life is actually filled with magic.